The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. A famous trip here on the Red Sox racing calendar takes us to Belgium at the famous spa, the Francorchamps. Almost 4 miles around here with major elevation changes and a circuit every driver loves with the high speeds and tricky corners. We now are in our GT3 spring season number 3 here, race number 2 here at the famous racing circuit. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage of the Red Sox Racing League. Again, race number 2 here from Spa, and happy to give you all the action. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the production truck, and I have my friend and colleague Bradley Dalton to help me out with the action here today. This is not a good sign if I can't speak here in the intro, Bradley, but a world-famous circuit, high speeds, a lot of slipstreaming, a lot of technical sections. You couldn't ask for much more than what Spa offers.
Yeah, this will be about my 5th Spa broadcast in about 3 weeks, and I think the simplest way to explain a circuit de Spa Francorchamps, we need to work on the pronunciation, Corey, is that it is a GT3 paradise. You've got, El Rouge, you've got Radion, you've got No Name, you've got Brussels, Makeeng, you've got Pouan, you've got Campus, Stavelot, Blanchimont, the bus stop, La Sauce. I mean, there's not a lot you can ask for here, honestly. This is a track that has been around since the 1920s. Now, granted, that original configuration was 9.3 miles. There's been changes that have been done through the years for safety, for different changes of shortening the track. They took it and they changed Pouan around a little bit. They've changed different parts of El Rouge and Radion through the years for safety. But this track just has everything. It's got the fast Kimmel straight. It's got tricky downhill corners. It's got a bus stop chicane. I don't know what more you can want. And of course, Red Sox is doing the good thing of using the OG pits, as I like to call them, which is where you use the pits after La Sauce before you hit El Rouge. And then when you go to exit the pits, it shoots you out in the Kimmel straight instead of you exiting and then having to make the run up El Rouge and Radion.
Yeah, I'm the uncultured American NASCAR guy, so I'm glad that I have you for correct language enunciations here, because I won't get them right. But either way, qualifying here on the board, and we were watching practice off air there, Bradley, and Ryan Robertson was roughly about a half second off of the pace of Ross Booth, but he has very much closed that gap in, and he has a very interesting livery here on the evening. I am Speed. That is not Lightning McQueen, but apparently it is Speed. And for those of us that are more cultured to whatever that is, it looks cool, so I'll always take that. But he is much closer, within a tenth, but we don't know if that's on pure pace, if he found the speed, or he might have had a little slipstream to facilitate that.
Yeah, first, Kachow. Second, just looking through at qualifying times in general, it's a very, very close field. But here's the thing, too, is we're looking at 34 cars.
Oh, wow.
Am I that is right? A record. 35 cars?
That is actually a record. I'm going to say, at least in the PTR TV era of Red Sox, that is a record. The most we've ever started here in the Red Sox. A phenomenal job by Les on his promotion efforts. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing it right.
Well, and if you're going to have 34 cars show up, Spa is probably the track to do it, because this track is going to be one of the longer tracks that we go to, I believe, if I'm remembering my calendar right, with this track pacing in at just over 4.3 miles, aka 7 kilometers for those of you who don't know what a mile is, but I don't know what a kilometer is. So with that being said, it's a good track to have a lot of cars, because it's gonna make sure that we keep some action around as things go, because things will get very very spread out, I feel, as the race goes. But the thing about Red Sox is, does it ever really get that spread out? We're going to see pockets of action go through, but these guys are very, very competitive.
That's these guys are, and you'll have your kind of groups of drivers, if you will, of which, you know, we'll have the guys up front, the top two, and then we'll go back a little ways, and we'll have a little battles, probably like 3-4 car battles all throughout the field. I expect maybe here those battles might be a little bit bigger, perhaps, just due to the nature of what the slipstream will entail here. As you can see, Ryan Robertson exiting. What is that on circuit? Les Combs on, not Les. See, this is why I don't try to do coordinators. We're on Blanchemont now, the straightaway that is not a straightaway. That is what we got here at Blanchemont. In a prototype, this is usually flat out, but right here, this is maybe a crack. Maybe you could do it flat if you get the guts to do it, as they said, heading into the chicane here. And we'll just get the visual representation of the pit lane here. Get those sausage curbs that'll throw guys around. Exiting the chicane into La Source, and then exiting La Source, you'll have that opportunity to pit to the right side of the circuit at the blue cone.
You know what? I'm going to make it my goal by the end of this broadcast for you to have a little bit more of a grasp on Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. By the time we're done, I want you to be able to name the big highlight corners, which I think you've already got with Rouge and Radion. I think you know where Le Colombe is, and well, I think we can get you down with...
So your accents are coming off more Spanish to me than whatever accent you were trying to make them emulate. I am going to go that far. I'm getting Ricky Ricardo vibes out of your accents. That's just could just be a me thing, though.
I think it's the you thing. I'll let you go look up some accents later, and maybe someone can sound off in the YouTube chat.
I mean, if Ricky Ricardo, I mean, I don't even know how many people are old enough to remember where Ricky Ricardo came from, but either way, we digress from that point. So the cooldown lap is, the cooldown timer is what is engaged right now, so there's nobody left on circuit. So what we can go over is our weather conditions here, which will be very different from last week's race. 69 degrees in the air, 72 in the track, absolutely zero moisture. That was a point made because last week at Monza, they had some rain in practice and just to mess around with it, fool around with it, and they expected the track to dry out by the time the race started. It did not, and it was predominantly dry, but there were some slick spots that did actually cause some wrecks. So I think we have made some major changes to evade the weather here, though it may be coming in a few weeks' time or so, the rumor does state. But there we go, Bradley down to 0, and I think we're getting ready for a starting lineup.
Yeah, looks like we've got the starting lineup ready to go here. So what we're going to be looking at is that good old PTR TV starting lineup, which is going to see Ross Booth and Ryan Robertson in the front row. That's going to be one I'm excited about. And then from there, you get Sheldon Rosenbaum and Tommy Ryan in row number 2. From there, it's Shane Hunter, Robert Kansian, Mark Kudrowski, Todd Merriam-Petrie, and then Rick Minkler and Les Turner are our top 10 here.
All right, 11th through 20th, we have Dave Hill there in 11th, Lightning McQueen, Robert Barros in 12th. Reed Rundle in the 13th spot. He just won a race last night that I raced him in, but we'll see what he can do here in Red Sox from 13th. Wilson in 14th. Kevin Guile in 15th with David Fernandez. You know him from our American Muscle series. He is in 16th. Dwayne McCarthy in 17th with Dennis Griffin in 18th, 19th, and 20th. Dale Green and then Robert Seneville.
And then from there, it's going to be Gerald Livingston, P21, Matt Owens in 22nd, Jim Graziano in P23, and Bill Pawlucky in 24th, JP Phillips in 25th, Scott Houston in 26th, Chris Sherburne in 27th, Ed Sutcliffe in P28, Jeff Ryan in P30, and Aaron LA in P30.
It's either Los Angeles or yeah, that's about it. David Barry in 31st, Alex Keatslar in 32nd. And then, again, this is the biggest grid we've ever had in Red Sox. Ricky Hart in 33rd, Brian Irby 34th, and then shotgun on the field is going to be Mark Agee, the Virginia native, in the 35th 5th position. We already went over our weather. Again, our race details here on the evening. 30-minute races. Of course, the forced pit stop due to the abbreviated fuel load. There is one quick repair in the pits if it is deemed necessary. And, of course, there is the incident penalty. So if you get every 6 incidents you get, that will put you on the points penalty system. And, of course, you do have to make it back under your own power from the checkered flag to the entry to the pits, which on a 4-mile circuit, that is more important here than on many other circuits.
Yeah, that's going to take a lot of good calculation out of these drivers, which I think they can do. I don't think it's going to be a big problem for them, but it is going to be something they need to be aware of because, again, this is a 4.3-mile circuit, so it's going to take a lot more fuel than it will somewhere, say, Monza, to get around, to get back to the pit lane under your own power. As we're going down our formation lap here, short little pace lap, and we come down through Blanchimont now. This is going to be the point where we head to the bus stop chicane, and then because of the pit structure that we're using the Grand Prix original pits, they've got to go all the way down around the source before we can get this race underway.
And I do want to make another note here. If you're watching this on a television set, you may be enjoying the new higher resolution 1440p, getting your Red Sox in fancier, higher resolution. So hopefully you are enjoying that. But as you said, we are using the alternate layout here. So normally we would be starting right under that Spa bridge, but nope, we will be starting here in the OG manner, coming through La Source and getting ready, heading down the hill up Eau Rouge and getting a night of fun underway. Barney's going to have the flag in hand as the pace car will take the hard right turn. Ross Booth will be the control vehicle. Get that green flag waving, get that green flag going, and let's go down the hill and get some racing underway.
Yeah, here we go. This is going to be the run with Booth in the lead there, but back behind, side by side, it's Rosenbaum and Tommy Ryan going side by side up Eau Rouge, which is a dangerous game out of Radion. There's a little bit of jockeying back in the midfield, but I think all 35 cars made it through Eau Rouge and Radion with no issues. Now it's flying down the Kimmel Straight here with Ryan Robertson right behind Ross Booth here, wanting to try to make a move. Sheldon Rosenbaum, Tommy Ryan as we head down into Lacombe for the first time here through, and it looks like everyone playing it nice, tidy, single file, a lot of Porsches in the field, so I don't see anything too wild happening there on the race start. Looks like we make it through down into Brussels and then down into Speaker's Corner without too much of an issue. Yeah,
of course, the rules within the Red Sox Racing League is that you do, by the rules of it, have to play kindly, at least for the first couple corners. You're not allowed to make passes until, I think, a few corners in, giving everybody the opportunity to get settled. We have had a few races this season with some opening lap incidents, and I will say that the admin was not too happy about that, so everybody minding their P's and Q's, getting themselves underway here. The closest battle on circuit was back there with Mark Wilson, and this is usually the hot spot really in any series, but particularly here in Red Sox. When you go about 10th through probably, I guess in this instance, it's 25th, I really think these guys are going to be all over each other with very similar pace here as the leaders are starting to separate themselves.
Yeah, the leaders are going to set off early and try to set their pace. They're going to try to get out and go away and just not be... They don't want to be in any of the issues going through. I am watching like Mark Kodrowski, who is just slowly trying to chase down Shane Hunter. Shane Hunter's lost a place early on here. And then Dave Hill's gotten past Les Turner up a place early on as well. But we're only one lap in here with 28 minutes to go. Again, this is a very, very long lap here around Spa. And as we watch, the bus stop chicane is going to be where I think if we see any big moments, it's going to be there, as we see, especially back in the back of the pack, like down towards Chris Sherburne, where we're seeing some side-by-side action as people try to just make up places in the bus stop.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of action here in the back of the pack, and everybody has done a good job. We are estimating here with the lap times upwards of 2 minutes and 24 seconds. We're only estimating 13 laps here on the board, so in terms of getting that done, you're not going to have a lot of circuits around to make your time up. But you can see Ryan Robertson 1.4 seconds back. He is out of that slipstream range that we always talk about, Bradley, typically right around 0.7 of a second. After that, the slipstream range does decay quite significantly. So Ross Booth already in territory to run his own race, and clearly doing a very good job of it to start this thing out.
Yeah, Ross Booth has one goal right now, and it's set some pace early on and just get away from Robertson. Don't give Robertson the chance to think about getting past. And, I mean, he's doing a good job with a second and a half in tow as they come out of No Name here and head down towards Poulan. I'm just watching through. I think Robertson might be just holding back a little bit, honestly. The Porsche's a very nimble car around Spawn. The BMW is stable. I think Sheldon Rosenbaum is one that we need to watch, though. In the Ferrari, he's going to have a car that has a lot of power, especially up the hill through Eau Rouge Radion and down the Kimmel Straight and down through Blanchimont, the big power sections of the track. This middle sector is really where he's going to have the problem, though, as we come here through the middle sector. That's where I really think the Ferrari is going to struggle.
Now, we have heard about the straight line speed of those Ferraris, but a lot of technical sections here. Somebody going rather wide here. I think that was Shane Hunter in that rather authentically colored Ferrari there, that kind of cherry red there, but he went wide. That'll probably be an incident point, so got to watch out for that if you're looking for championship points there. Mark Kedrowski, always a top driver in the series, not starting where he wants to. He's going to take a dive here into the chicane, into the bus stop, but it's going to backfire. Todd Marin Pietri goes to driver's side. Thought he was going to try to get him through there on the chicane, but the defensive line almost backfired, but Kedrowski will hang on to 7th.
Yeah, it holds on to 7th there at the moment. You've got to be brave in the bus stop and go for the dive. I mean, I have to respect it through, because you want the outside starting the bus stop and it goes in the inside. And then no other corner is really like that. La Source, you want the inside going through up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion. You don't want to go side by side through here. This is the spot where if you're going to hang out single file and do nothing, this is the place to do it here. And it looks like pretty much all of our drivers are doing that right now, hanging out, going through again front of the field as they come down the Kimmel Straight here. Ryan Robertson is, he's back by 2 seconds now, but he's built up a gap to Rosenbaum, who's trying to just keep ahead of Kansian in the Audi, who's getting pressure back from Ryan and Hunter that he's passed. That Audi looks fast, though, and I think Robert's going to be one that we need to watch later in this race. 24 and a half minutes left to go.
At 24 and a half minutes, it'll be interesting to see when the pit stop will come into existence here. I mean, there's a lot of different strategies here. I've seen it as early as 5 minutes in. I've seen it as early as 5 minutes to go. So the window is probably open right now, although I'd probably wait a minute or two just to be safe here and just kind of scrolling through the field and seeing the closest battle on track. But it is actually what we were just focusing on, about 6th on back, starting off with Shane Hunter and Tommy Ryan there. And I'll tell you, Mark Kedrowski really, really feisty in that brightly colored Ferrari here on the evening. He is trying to go somewhere. And I think I'm actually trying to remember back to practice. I think Kedrowski was relatively in the high up on the board within the top 5, but didn't qualify where he wanted to. And when you don't qualify where you want to, this isn't a NASCAR race where you have 500 laps and a bunch of different stages to reset. You don't qualify well in a short timed race with no brakes. You really don't have a way to recover from it.
Yeah, Kedrowski was 5th in practice. He was 0.8 of a second back from Ross Booth, who had a 2:18.0. So he has pace here. He's just a little bit slower. But even then, it's practice, so I don't put that much weight on it in terms of, the 0.8 of a second gap, because he may have not went for a qualifying lap. But again, as you said, 30-minute race, you really need to be going and pushing through. I'm trying to keep my eye on the bus stop here for any big action with this big mass of Porsches in the mid-pack, and I don't see anything wild happening. I don't see anything big going on up at the front of the field either as they run up towards Eau Rouge. So Spa-Francorchamps doing what Spa does and producing steady racing, and Red Sox just adding to it. Again, steady racing where it's a game of survival. I don't see anything too wild happening here early on, but again, 22 and a half minutes.
Yeah, here comes a battle for 3rd position right now. That is, Tommy Ryan. He's going to get into the wall off of Robert Kansian. I mean, I don't think it was off of Robert Kansian. I don't know who else is going to get involved. We have Todd Marin Pietri here gets involved, and this is all at the end of the Kimmel Straight into Les Combes there, but we'll go on replay and try to sort out what happened there. And we kind of caught it live, but we'll try to get a different perspective of it heading down the Kimmel Straight here. We'll try to find our top-down cam. That's of no use. This is the right cam, but we need to go back a few more seconds here. Here goes Ryan to the left, maybe trying to do a little slipstream, a little draft, side draft, and they met in the middle there down the straight. And then Todd Marin-Pietri, just the unlucky duck here. I guess actually he didn't get any damage there, but it's kind of hard to say. I don't know if the aero side draft effects are modeled within the iRacing on these GT3 cars, but that probably a bigger risk than the reward was going to offer.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to go for it, but it's also one of those, if you're going to go for it, do it cleanly. But then his rejoin was really rough. That's the part that I really... The side-by-side, I think a little bit of netcode might have been involved, but then the rejoin there, into Le Com, that's where I'm really just kind of like, it was a little rough. But unfortunately, that's going to be his race done, and that is our first DNF here out of a 35-car grid. So 34 cars still running, and it is Ross Booth who has 3.5 seconds on the field as we cross the line again.
Yeah, we'll switch over our ticker right now. Not in that vein. We'll switch it over here with your intervals, switching over to lap times, and you can see, well, this is a good rather an 18.5 to an 18.8. So that time by, it was only 0.2 of a second slower was Ryan, but the time before that it was upwards of a second. But it doesn't matter, you know, whether it's by a second or a tenth, he's still slower, so naturally that gap is going to keep going up and up and up, and then comparative second to third, basically dead even. And then you go almost a second further back to Robert Cansey in there, but he also was involved in that little skirmish there with Tommy Ryan, which allowed Shane Hunter and Mark Kudrowski to close on in. So Kudrowski got a free spot there, so now he's up to 6. So now he has 4th right within his grasp there. So he is going to try to make some headway, but Shane Hunter doing a good job hanging on for now.
Yeah, Shane Hunter is just very, very well placing that car and just sort of sitting in all the right places at the right time. The question is, how wide is a Ferrari? And I think the response would be, well, how wide is Spa-Francorchamps? How wide is this track? Because that Ferrari is in all the right places and is just blocking everything from Mark Kudrowski. Mark Kudrowski is doing well, staying consistent, and being really patient. Being a lot more patient than you would see most drivers in a open lobby being. So that's where you can tell kind of the level-headedness of the driver, of just sitting there, pick your moment, and make it count. Don't do anything crazy that's going to compromise your race and the guy in front.
And that is a factor within this series, because the turnover rate, I guess if you want to use, you know, an employment term in relation to iRacing, in the Red Sox race is very, very low. When I tell you that I've been covering these guys since 2018, off and on, more so on than off, I will tell you that probably 30 to 40% of this grid I covered back in 2018. Like, they have long-time drivers, long-time friendships, long-time respect has built up. So you know that you're not gonna, you know, drive it on in there 5 car lengths deep. You're gonna race these guys for a long time. So they have that respect. They know who's gonna do what. They know driver tendencies and all that stuff. And all of that comes out to play here in these heated moments.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of heated moments, we just lost Robert Senneville going through Blanchimont, but look at this side-by-side up Eau Rouge. No, Shane Hunter backs out of it. Robert Cansey ahead. But as we go down the Kimmel Straight here, this is where things are going to be interesting. Watch Shane Hunter and Mark Kudrowski. These two are going to be feisty as they run through. And watch this. Mark Kudrowski is going to peek through, and Shane Hunter is going to peek. Is anyone going to make a move? Nobody makes a move stick. Oh, I thought he was going to chop the nose off of that Ferrari, but he doesn't. It's very, very close as they come through the column, as they head down Malmedy, and now they're going to head towards Brussels. And this is going to be, if you're going to try a lunge up the inside, Brussels is a very good place to do it. He's going for it there up the inside. And does Mark Kudrowski make it stick? He's going to be the outside for speakers, and no, Shane Hunter slams the door shut, moves that Ferrari back to the outside. Very, very clean battling. And now as they head down towards Coulon or the Double Gosh, depending on how you know that corner, it is just back to single file racing. They had their moment, they tried to make it work, they couldn't, and now they say, okay, single file we go again.
All right, we have a few different incidents here to watch. Senneville, as you spoke of, got loose there, hard into the fence. JP Phillips, he went into the dirt, hard into the wall. And then in tertiary, third, I think that's how you say it. Something with Kevin Kyle there. We missed it in the trees. We will get a secondary perspective of that. He got loose exiting a Rouge and on the Kennel Straight there having some issues. So that's 3 wrecks basically within a 2-lap time frame. And obviously he is in the pits now, so I don't know what happened on that lap. Maybe someone spilt some oil down, but things were slick. But the rest of these guys are all situated just fine here. But going back to that battle we were focusing on before, Shane Hunter still holding on to Katrowski here in the bus stop, now heading into La Source. Les Turner, haven't spoke about him, again our boss man here on the evening. He is in the top 10, 0-1, his position is his car number inverted here. And just at the top of the shot, Dave Hill on the outside as Rich Minkler in the 908, trying to drag race down La Source, rather onto the front straightaway up to our Rouge, but no, he will fall back in line.
Yeah, and that's the thing about going up the hills. If you're not clearly ahead of someone, you are better off to back off and try to get them down the Kimmel Straight. You do not want to go side by side up Rouge and Radion. You want to settle it in and get behind and use the slipstream down the Kimmel Straight. And that's exactly what we see that 908 doing right now of Rich Winkler. You see he's going side by side here. He's going to go for the outside of Lecombe, which is the better line because it gives you the inside.
Yep, right here. But Hill,
can he make it stick? He pushes the 13 wide. He's gonna hold it there. They're still side by side, and the Porsche can go side by side and make it stick. So now we're side by side heading down through Brussels, and it's still side by side. But the inside line is gonna have an advantage. But as we had to No Name, again, it's the 908 that's gonna be on the inside, but he's a little too far back there, and that number 13 of Dave Hill is gonna make it stick. But look at that, them battling for that long from the Kimmel Straight all the way down into Poulon has opened up things for Todd, Marion Pietri, Les Turner, Reed Rundle, and Mark Wilson to get right there in the mix.
Yeah, and that creates that battle going all the way back to really about the 12th position with Mark Wilson all the way back there. Having a couple pit stops here. Dwayne McCarthy, Gerald Livingston, JP Phillips. They've all made pit stops, approximately 10-second long pit stops, so we'll keep that in mind as our kind of our barometer here on the evening. As to what these guys will be doing. But again, up front, the guy that we haven't spoke about, well, it's because he's just been the show stinker here on the evening, up 6 seconds nearly on Robertson. The pace last time by, he was nearly a second faster than Ryan. And again, there's nothing dictating that other than pure pace. Maybe the manufacturer, the big boy BMW versus the Porsche. I mean, you can argue maybe there's a discrepancy there. Maybe the Porsche is better suited than the big boy here, but either way, we'll see what the gap is this time by. We'll see what the lap times are crossing the stripe down the hill.
Here's the thing with the BMW. The BMW is a very stable, well-rounded car, but the Porsche is very nimble. And looking at sector times for me,
it was a second last time by, just on a second of the lap again.
See, where Ross is gaining the time for me is through the technical bits of the track. It's through Brussels. It's through Poulon. It's through Campus and Stavelot, and it's through the chicane. It's the spots where the Porsche has the advantage. Overall, the BMW is a more stable car, but the Porsche is just going to be a little bit more nimble, and he's just able to take advantage of it just enough that he can't catch up. So we'll see if Robertson can pull any time. Maybe Robertson is fuel saving. I don't know. But, you know, I don't think you're really going to make up a 6.5 second gap with just under 13 minutes to go here.
Yeah, only way you're making that up is some kind of self-induced mistake, whether it be on circuit or in the pits with a penalty or some kind of a glitch and the fuel doesn't go in the car, all of which has happened to me on the iRacing service here. And here's Reed Rundle on circuit. He is right behind Les Turner. That is for the 10th spot. Again, I just raced Reed last night. Reed is a hell of a short track racer. He won a late model race in a league that I run in, as I do sometimes drive on iRacing, believe it or not. He won a late model race, has some speed in those cars, much more than I have, but I guess turning left and right, maybe the right-hand turn slowing him up here a little bit, but he's running solidly at 11th. He's won some races in his time. I know we covered him in Victory Lane, I don't know, a couple years ago or something, but either way, it did occur. He's having that good battle here. Rich Minkler, remember he just passed I forget who it was, where he tried to make a pass, but now he is closing in on Dave Hill. That is going to be for 7th as we close in on 10 minutes left. We're at 11:50 right now. Still waiting for pit stops from the majority of our field.
Yeah, I think a lot of go. Oh, deep on the brakes with Shane Hunter through the bus stop. That was a scary moment for Robert Kansian. That caught me way off guard. I was not expecting to see a Ferrari miss a braking point up in the front of the field, but that's created a good battle with Kudrowski and Shane Hunter. Are either of these guys going to peel off from the pits now? It looks like not. We see good old Shane Hunter runs wide there. Mark Kudrowski finally up into 5th place, and now we head up Eau Rouge and Radion, but I am seeing some other drivers in the pits here. It looks like Rundle's in the pits. It looks like Wilson's in the pits.
Sir.
It looks like Griffin's in the pits. So we've got some cars that are coming in now, but we'll see what happens here with the 2 Ferraris down the Kibble Straight.
Yeah, we're closing in on what will estimate to be about 5 laps to go here, just about, and it will be interesting to see how the timer plays out towards the white flag. Sometimes we get a bonus lap, sometimes we finish it out right on time. We'll see how that does come into existence here, but you got Shane Hunter and Mark Kudrowski. Kudrowski up to 5th. If he wants to try to get on the spot, he's going to need to gain 1 second further to catch Robert Kansian, which can be done. The second is not too hard to overcome, but Kansian not a slow driver, so that will be much easier said than done. Going back a little ways, it's Rich Minkler. Here he is trying to take a peek, just trying to make, I think, Dave Hill a little bit scared in the mirrors. You know, you see a car in your mirror, then he's gone, because that means he peeled out. And even if he's not attempting to make the pass, it's just getting you to think. And when you think as a race car driver, you're more prone to make mistakes.
Yeah, and it sounds counterproductive. It sounds counterintuitive, but there's a lot of thinking, a lot of mind games that you play as that second car in line. You've got to throw the guy up front off his rhythm. You beware the groove. Because really what you can do, you can mess a driver's day up if you just do something a little different and you get him off of his rhythm of his lap, and he has to look up and think about where you're at in the mirror and start thinking of other things, and he misses a braking point like we saw Mark Kudrowski do a lap ago. You know, it can very much play in your favor. So I don't blame Rich Minkler a minute at all for playing a little bit of mind games if he can. I would have done the same thing. As our leaders into the pits here, Ross Booth has decided to make a break into the pits, and it looks like Robertson is staying out.
Maybe getting himself a lap lead point. I think that's what he's doing with the start finish where it is. It'll be pretty close whether he got it. Sheldon coming in, and here comes basically everybody else coming to the attention of their crews here, entering pit lane. Yeah, when we say everybody else, we mean everybody else coming off of La Source here and heading down the hill. Basically everybody taking that hard right turn, and well, I guess not everybody. Chris Sherburne will stay on circuit. Scott Husted coming down, so Ryan Robertson being the lone ranger on track. Let's see, did he get the lap led? He did, so that will give him a point, I believe. So we'll get something out of this race other than probably a second place, but we'll see how that does shake out. Ross Booth, 7.9 seconds in his pit time, which I can tell you, just looking at all the back-end data, 7.9 is the least amount of fuel anybody has taken, but I do know Ross Booth, and I know his track record. I don't think he's ran it out of fuel once, and I'm hard-pressed to believe that that's going to happen this time.
It would be very shocking if he ran it out of fuel right now, I'm not going to lie. But 24 seconds the gap. 33 seconds in pits. There's no way Robertson pulls out enough time on Booth here. I was going to say, I think he's going for an undercut, but I think he might have actually relegated himself into third place here.
Well, on replay, just had an incident with Jeff Ryan a few laps ago. That has since... well, obviously he has since dissipated from that, but just try to catch all the things that we do miss here as going through. So a couple wrecks here on the evening, but here comes Robertson into the bus stop, and you would have to bet the farm that he's going to come in this time by, because I don't know how much more fuel that BMW is going to have in the tank here. And just as another little metric of data that we can provide, You can see 29.2 seconds was the pit lane time for Ross Booth, and you can see 23 seconds on the delta right now on the interval. So you just do the basic math here. Should be about a 6-second lead once this all shakes out, as here comes Ryan Robertson.
Yeah, Ryan Robertson, we'll see where he lands through. Ross Booth currently coming out of the bus stop chicane, heading down towards La Source now. So we'll see how much of a gap he has as he goes through. He's through the middle of La Source now. He's through the exit of La Source now and running through. And meanwhile, Ryan Robertson is still stationary in his pit lane.
Yep,
and again, remember,
comes.
the exit of the pits is all the way out through Erosion Radion, and it shoots you onto the Kimmel Straight. And yeah, it's going to be a several second gap here as he goes through. Chris Sherburne is into the pits as well in that Mercedes. Sheldon Rosenbaum is through. And about 6 seconds right on cue. 5.72, 5.93, 6. Yeah, about 6.5 seconds will be the gap by the time Ryan Robertson will get that car up to speed at the end of the Kimmel Straight.
It's funny how that works out. It works here in the Red Sox Racing League. It works in road racing, but when I try to apply that same logic to an oval, it never works. So go figure. But let's see, now that everything has shaken out, let's take a look at our battles. Of course, there's no battle up front right now, but as we go back a little ways, Shane Hunter, he was in battles of sorts, and he will be in another battle right here. That is in the form of Dave Hunter just in front of him. Rich Minkler looks like he lost a little bit of time in that exchange because he was up with them, but now he's a little bit further back. Reed Rundle in 9th. Someone who didn't have a good exchange was Les Turner. He's back in 13th now, but remember, he was just on the outskirts of the top 10 prior to that. So the pit stop cycle not working out how he would like. But we're coming down now to 5 minutes to go. And again, we'll have to extrapolate this out. We're looking at 13 laps here on the evening, Bradley. This is the lap number 11. We'll take lap number 12. So with the vague estimates as of now, we'd be coming down to 2 laps to go this time.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2 laps is going to be where we're at. Just rough through. I don't think anything wild's going to go on. Don't imagine Ross Booth is going to be laying off the throttle anytime soon. So we'll see. Top 3. If the top 3 changes, it's because of something the top 3 did. That's the big thing with it. I think the big battle really is going to be Hill and Cancian. And possibly Hunter could get in the mix. I could be wrong with that. So that's really where I'm keeping my eyes. That P5 position is really what I'm looking at for the rest of this race.
Well, we do also have a good battle here at 10th, 11th, 12th. Lightning McQueen, Robert Barrows, really hard on the binders. Tried to take a peek underneath Mark Wilson, but thought better of it. He's getting a pretty decent run here, exiting the bus stop and heading down the straight into La Source, but he's not going to make an effort. He will just get right along the back bumper. Todd Marin Pietri lead this little trio, so that's a good battle just outside of our top 10. And outside of that, the best battle, as we've been discussing, is going to be now Cancian, who is right in under fire from Dave Hill, and Shane Hunter trying to use the slipstream. Let's see if a pass happens here in Dulles Gomes.
Yeah, watch Shane Hunter here. Shane Hunter is in a really good position, comes running through, is going to think about where he can place the Ferrari to take advantage. He's going to put a nose up the inside, has to go on the grass to avoid there. Side by side, he goes with Robert Cancian, and Robert Cancian will cede the position there and goes down into P7. So Shane Hunter finds a place, Dave Hill finds a place, and Robert Cancian loses 2 places in the Audi in the matter of just a couple of corners through the calm and out down into Brussels now. Dave Hill's going to run away with it. I don't think he can make up the 2.3 seconds he needs to make up to Kedrowski here, but we'll see if he can hold on against Shane Hunter.
All right, we'll see if he can hang on indeed. And again, just taking a look at those other battles on track, but let's go back up to our race leader here, and we'll watch the clock. Well, there's not really much need to watch it here because remember, 2 minutes 30 seconds around this place, and as you can see with our timer, we are below that. So our estimator, actually, funnily enough, my estimator is saying this is going to be a 14-lap race, but I think it is definitively going to be 13 here, heading into the bus stop. Again, we'll probably hit start-finish with about 1:50, so by all means, this will be coming to the white flag.
White flag going through here, and I mean, what can you really say about Ross Booth's race? I mean, it's been smooth the whole time. Same with Ryan Robertson, very, very smooth. And then Sheldon Rosenbaum, again, I will just say it, he has Rosenbaumed his way into a silky.
Look at Robert Barros. He's looking to the right side, heading through Blanchemont, and now he's going to be on the left side, on the outside lane, heading into the bus stop. This is by Marin Pietri. Can he hold that outside lane? Gives him the better line here on the back end of the chicane, but can Marin Pietri do a crossover? Can't get the power down, but a great battle, great pass there by Robert Barros to take a spot.
Ka-chow. Robert Barros up into P11 there with a white flag pass. Absolutely gorgeous, I have to call it here. And a very good move there. Again, the mid-pack gives good battles. Never discount the mid-pack in a Red Sox race, because that is where you can see some of the most exciting action.
Yeah, exactly that, because we got to be honest. We're not saying this in a derogatory way, but it's been a stinker. I mean, there's races that as a driver, you do everything right, and it's very, very rare. Even when Ross is racing, typically Ryan and Ross, I'll kind of, go the Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon route. Towards the end, you always gave Jimmy the upper hand, but they always had good battles. I always give Ross the upper hand over Ryan, but it's typically a lot closer than this. Very rarely does Ryan just literally get spanked, but I know everyone just has their off days, and everyone has their tracks that they don't have that extra bit of oomph that they need, and clearly Spa is one of those tracks.
Spa is always a track that here's the thing with Spa. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna leave it as we're 10 seconds to go here. You need a little bit of weather to mix things up. This is a track that genuinely, if you're gonna run rain, it's this track. That is where you really see the good racing come from, is rain at Spa.
Yeah, a little bit of variation here sometimes helps out, gets these guys off their hot lap pace, but the hot lap pace is all that was needed here today. As I have to temporarily call myself, because normally I'd be calling the race right here, but with our layout we will come through La Source, which is the final turn on this layout of the track, as opposed to turn number 1. Ross Booth led the perfect race, got the pole, led every single lap, less one, only because of the pit cycle, but he's going to come off the final quarter, come down the hill, and grab himself a Red Sox Racing League win, race number 2 here at Spa.
Yeah, meanwhile, you've got Ryan Robertson, who ends up finishing
10 seconds.
about 9 seconds back.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a pretty good little gap, but still a good P2. Sheldon Rosenbaum not too far off there into P3. I'm trying to catch any last-second battles here. Big snap there from Shane Hill, who possibly might lose out on P6 here from Cansey, but Cansey not close enough to capitalize out of the source. And further back, the slipstream between Minkler and Reed Rundle. Reed Rundle goes to pass at the line. Doesn't make it happen. So, again, good little pockets of racing all the way through.
Yeah, all these guys doing their thing, having just checking through any other last-second battles that may happen out of La Source. Doesn't appear that any of those will come to fruition. But as we always say within the Red Sox series, they do have to make it back under their own power to the pit entry cone here to evade any kind of post-race penalty. I believe it's a six race penalty. It's a 6-point penalty, I do believe. But either way, offer our congratulations to our top guys here, predominantly to our race winner in the form of Ross Booth. And let's go down and we'll read off our results here today from Spa. I'll let you say the accented version. Where are we at?
Circuit Les Spa Francorchamps.
There you go. I can't say that. Ross Booth gets the final margin here by 9.3 seconds over Ryan Robertson. Sheldon Rosenbaum, don't think we talked about him too much today, but he had a good run here. Podium effort in 3rd. Kudrowski with a 4th. Dave Hill with a 5th. Shane Hunter finishes in 6th. Robert Cansey, and he was in the thick of it a lot here today, gets 7th. Minkler, Rundle, and Mark Wilson scratches out of top 10.
Yeah, and from there, it's going to be Barus in P11, Todd Marion Pietri in P12. Let's turn to P13, David Fernandez in P14, Dale Green P15, Dennis Griffith P16, Dwayne McCarthy 17th, Jim Graziano P18th, Aaron Law or LA in P19, and Chris Sherburne in P20.
Let's call him Aaron Los Angeles, till we're told otherwise. Bill Paul Lucky in 21st, JP Phillips in 22nd. I'm from New England. There's a joke that I could do, but nobody else outside of New England will know that joke. Robert Senneville in 23rd, Matt Owens in 24th, Ed Sutcliffe in 25th. Then we have David Berry, Dwayne McCarthy, Jeff Ryan, Mark Agee, and then Kevin Kyle. Most of those drivers caught up in some incidents here, and I'll just read out the last three. Husted, Ryan, and Ricky Harden. I don't recall, he must have taken to the grid here, but I don't recall ever seeing him on track. So now this is a time within our Red Sox league, as it happens quite often. They don't use this Discord, this communications server that we're in very often. So we await our drivers to pop in. We always usually get Ryan. Ross usually pops in. But we just got to play the good old waiting game here. But Bradley, obviously you haven't been here as much, but must have enjoyed yourself here tonight, I imagine.
I like Spa. I like GT3 racing. So this car track combo is just music to my ears, music to the soul of a guy who got started in racing with sim racing with Formula One. So you know that I'm gonna have a good time here. And again, Red Sox, anytime I've commentated Red Sox, it's a very clean, very professional league. The drivers all tend to usually have their head together. I can't think of anything crazy that's gone on to date, except for the season finale a few weeks ago.
But we're getting our guys filling on in here, so we'll head right to Victory Circle. So Ross Booth, first time here in this season that you've made an attempt, and you get yourself a win here. Dominating fashion. Very seldom does anybody spank Ryan, but 9.3 seconds. The time don't lie. You spanked him here tonight.
That was a fun race. Glad to be out and about in Red Sox. Sad I can't make more races.
Yeah, well, fun is all that matters. I mean, we kept tabs on you predominantly, here and there, because there really wasn't too much focused on you, but you had the time in qualifying. Even with the slipstream guys weren't able to beat you in qualifying, and you obviously had that race pace. Is this a track that you typically circle? You just have that, you just have that something that you need to get around Spa fast, and the rest of them is one of your top tracks?
Yeah, I really do enjoy Spa, just because of all the GT3 driving. I do one of the big major events in the world, and on iRacing is the Spa 24 and the GT3 cars. So I've got too many laps at Spa, I guess you could say.
I don't think too many laps is possible. Now, I don't have a schedule right in front of me, but obviously this is race number 2, and you get the drop week, but I know you said your schedule kind of limits you. So when else do you think we're going to be able to see you this season?
Probably a couple weeks from now. I'm just finishing up a series I'm running in, and then I'm hoping to be back here and competing with the guys. It's great to see such a big turnout. I think there's 35 cars or so tonight. That's awesome to see. Red Sox doing amazing, and if you're watching this and looking for a league, come on out to Red Sox. Yeah, I just said record attendance here from what I've ever seen, so great to see. But glad we saw you today, and we'll see you when the schedule lines up then. Congrats, man. Yeah, thanks, Corey. I just want to give a shout out to my sponsors, SimLab and Grid, and shout out to Composite Performance for making the cars go fast. Yeah, and that they certainly did here on the evening, man. We'll catch you. Good job. Thank you. All right, and Bradley, I will give you normally he's the dominator. Today, he's second place, Ryan Robertson.
Ryan Robertson, hello. P2 hello. In the Bimmer. Tell me how your race was for you.
It was all right. The Bimmer around here, the fixed setup is not great when it comes to corners. It kind of just plows through everything. So, it's a losing battle. If you try to force it too much, you're just going to get even slower. So just trying to balance that out. I mean, I knew Ross was going to have, insane pace on me. So it was more about just, trying to keep my nose clean, save some fuel, and, make it to the end really without spinning the thing.
Yeah. Spa is a track that can go one of two ways for most people. And it looks like for you, it went the way of option 1, which is just run your own race, hot lap, and don't make a mistake. You didn't seem to have any pressure from behind or ahead, really. So were you thinking it was going to be a more competitive race?
I mean, Sheldon stayed within around that second, like a little over a second gap through the whole pit stop. So it was more about managing that to make sure he didn't get into the draft, but again, not pushing too hard. But I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it was just, run my own race, make sure you get to the end, and again, try not to bin it anywhere.
Yeah, and then coming off of a P2 here, what's the goal? When's the win? When are we seeing a win from you?
Well, hopefully next week, but we'll see. I mean, I won last week, so I'm 1 for 2.
Yeah, we're going for 2 for 3 though, right?
Yeah, always, of course.
Yeah. Awesome, Ryan. I appreciate your time, man.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, and then we got Sheldon Rosenbaum here in third, and in our podium finishes here today, it was relatively quiet races for most of you guys. You started third, you finished third. The top two were off in their own worlds, and you were kind of in your own world here in third, man. What was your highlights of today's race?
Yeah, that was just it. It was very uneventful. I was just out there on a Sunday drive. No, I was trying to keep up with Ryan. I couldn't. Then he gained on the pits like 2 seconds. I don't know what happened there.
Well, I may be able to answer that for you here if the data presents itself. It does not. I usually have the pit box times here. You were 2 seconds slower through the pit box cycle, so that will explain that one. But here at Spa, where a track gets so much on throttle time, it's, momentum is huge, slipstream is huge, but obviously the technical sections, Puhan and Les Combs, all that stuff, middle of the track. Where is the most amount of time you would say can be gained or lost here? Predominantly when you don't have the draft, when you're by yourself, where is like the big focus points here that you feel like you may have needed to improve?
Honestly, I don't know where I could improve anywhere. All my laps were pretty much consistent. I don't know where Ross was gaining all the extra time. I really don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the most frustrating part of a driver is when you feel like you're going 100, but someone's going 110. There's obviously something going on. But next week, we head above the border. I mean, we got to go back to North America, and then above the border, we head to Canada, Circuit des Gilles Villeneuve. I know you're going to kill me for the accent on that, Bradley. I'm American. We head to Montreal. What's your confidence heading there, Sheldon, next week?
I think I got a pretty good shot at that track, unless Ross shows up. then I'm fighting for second, maybe.
I'll give you a little privy information. He said he's probably not going to make next week.
Well, then I got a chance.
All right. Well, we'll see if you can do that, man. Congrats on a podium run, and we'll see what you can do in Canada next week.
All right. Thanks. Have a good night.
Too, man. All right. Well, that'll wrap things up here tonight from the Red Sox Racing League. Any final thoughts there, Bradley, before we go and I go watch the Bruins lose again?
I'm not going to roast you on your accent. I'll be nice, but we're going to work on that. Don't worry. We're going to work on that.
All right. Well, again, if you can get American to use an accent, then that's good work here. But make sure you stay tuned for. Actually, we're going to be on a pretty decent hiatus here. Our Spartan Sim Racing League is off, so I think we'll be back next week. I think that's actually going to be our next airtime here on the channel. So our summer lineup is a little bit light. So if you know a league looking to have some coverage presented, make sure you get in touch with me, Corey at PrimetimeRacingTV.com. Send a message, send a comment, and we will get right back to you. But that's going to be Corey and Bradley signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.